Hello everyone, welcome to Madrid Pulse. You got the source of the latest news, events, and everything happens in the heart of Spain. Franco Mastantuono is set to join Real Madrid earlier than initially expected, and all indications now point to his participation in the upcoming FIFA Club World Cup in the United States. What once seemed like a long-term plan now appears to be an immediate reinforcement move for the Spanish Giants, who have acted decisively and swiftly to reshape their squad ahead of the summer. The change in scenario has come rapidly, with Real Madrid's transfer strategy evolving at pace as they eye silverware in the international competition and beyond. But before continue, make sure you have already subscribed for getting more Real Madrid updates. Let's dive in. Mastantuono, the River Plate Wonderkid, has been on Real Madrid's radar for months. While early reports suggested he would not join until January 2026 or perhaps August of this year, the need for reinforcement in midfield has accelerated everything. Real Madrid's technical staff, faced with an increasingly packed and demanding calendar, have taken bold steps to ensure that Mastantuono can join their squad immediately for the Club World Cup. With June 10th fast approaching, the deadline for registering new signings before the market pauses until early July, the club has moved efficiently to finalize the transfer. One of the most complex issues was Mastantuono's age. Since he does not turn 18 until August, FIFA regulations around international transfers of minors initially cast doubt on whether a move this summer would be feasible. However, Real Madrid's legal and administrative departments submitted a number of inquiries to FIFA and explored various precedents. Ultimately, they found a pathway for the Argentine midfielder to switch confederations without violating any restrictions, thanks in large part to his holding a European passport, following the precedent of other Argentine players with Italian or French nationality who have made similar moves. This administrative solution means that Mastantuono will be registered in time for Real Madrid's participation in the Club World Cup, where FIFA allows each team to register 2 new players starting July 3rd for the final stages of the tournament. Not only will the young Argentine be registered, but he is also expected to feature prominently, given the club's current needs in midfield and the belief in his potential. Real Madrid sees this opportunity not merely as a short-term fix, but as an investment in the player's development, giving him crucial international exposure and time with the first-team squad ahead of a demanding 6-year spell outlined in the transfer agreement. At Valdebebas, the excitement around Mastantuono's arrival is palpable. The coaching and scouting departments are aligned in the belief that bringing him in now will ease his transition into European football. The environment at the Club World Cup, a highly competitive but controlled setting, is seen as an ideal proving ground for the player. Training alongside some of the best players in the world and competing on a global stage will give him a head start in adapting to the pace, tactics, and physicality of elite football. Behind the scenes, the deal was wrapped up quickly once Real Madrid got the green light from FIFA. Juni Calafat, the architect of so many of Madrid's South American signings, played a central role, traveling to Buenos Aires to secure the player's commitment. His presence and negotiation skills were crucial in overcoming last-minute competition from Paris Saint-Germain, who were also eager to sign Mastantuono. However, the player had his heart set on Madrid, influenced by the club's vision for his development and the prestige of wearing the iconic white shirt. The transfer fee stands at $45 million, structured to be paid in 3 installments. River Plate, well aware of the caliber of player they are parting with, negotiated strongly but ultimately respected the player's wish. For the Argentine club, the move also reinforces its reputation as a fertile ground for elite talent, while ensuring a significant financial return. The medical examination is the final formality before the player's registration is completed, and it is scheduled to take place shortly. While the paperwork is being finalized, Mastantuono continues training with the Argentine national team, where he recently made his senior debut in a friendly against Chile. That appearance only heightened Real Madrid's confidence in his maturity and readiness for the next step. Sources close to the club describe him as focused, grounded, and eager to learn, traits that will serve him well under the guidance of Carlo Ancelotti and the mentorship of veterans like Luka Modric and Toni Kroos, even if their time at the club is winding down. Madrid's decision to bring him in early is not just about plugging gaps. It's part of a broader strategy. With the likes of Arda Güler and Endrick forming part of the new wave, Mastantuono is seen as another key piece in a project that balances long-term planning with immediate competitiveness. His technical skill, vision, and positional intelligence align well with the club's style of play and tactical evolution. While there may be a period of adaptation, expectations are high that he will make an impact sooner rather than later. In summary, Real Madrid has acted decisively to secure the early arrival of one of South America's most promising young talents. The legal and logistical hurdles have been cleared, the transfer has been agreed upon, and barring any unforeseen complications, Franco Mastantuono will be donning the white of Real Madrid at the Club World Cup. It marks the beginning of a new chapter for the player, and another example of Madrid's proactive approach in building the future while remaining firmly focused on present success.
Agents had to do everything possible to sign for Real Madrid. The latter, against all odds, traveled to Buenos Aires and got the player's approval as a preliminary step to closing a deal with River Plate, something that will become official next week once the player passes his medical at the White Club. Once again, the player's opinion has been decisive in turning around a situation that has kept him away from Real Madrid for a year. Mastantuono facilitated a trip by his agents to Europe to try to make a final contact with Real Madrid, and he succeeded by re-establishing communication that had been severed by an unexpected move regarding the future of the youngest player to debut for the Argentine national team. Real Madrid's directors wanted to verify this time that everything the agents were telling them was true. Uni Calafat boarded a plane, traveled to Buenos Aires, and got the player's approval. The next step was, and still is, since it hasn't been signed, sealing the deal with River Plate. The understanding between the footballer and Real Madrid speaks of a 6-year commitment, which will become effective at the end of the Club World Cup, although River Plate wants and has asked the White Club that Mastantuono remain in the team from Núñez, a neighborhood of Buenos Aires, and which is the location of the historic Argentine club, until the end of the Libertadores. Real Madrid and River Plate already have an agreement in principle under which the 45 million release clause would be paid in 4 installments. Nothing is finalized, but there is a full understanding between the two entities, considered friends, as demonstrated by the recent appearance of the Argentine club's president in the Bernabeu box. At Valdebebas, it was difficult to understand the move made a year ago, which resulted in the player's contract being extended and his buyout clause tripled. Now they've forgotten what happened and are focused on securing the signing of a coveted player who is tipped to become a future world star in Argentina. River Plate's next Copa Libertadores match will take place on August 15th against Paraguayan side Libertad. The Argentine team believes they have a strong chance of winning the coveted tournament, which they last won at the Bernabeu in their 2018 clash with Boca Juniors. Other teams have fallen by the wayside. In fact, 5 days ago, the player's destination was PSG, but even the allure of winning the last Champions League hasn't been enough to fully convince Mastantuono, who has been instrumental in turning things around unexpectedly. The deal proves that Real Madrid isn't just driven by the urgency of the Club World Cup. It goes beyond that, and that their strategy remains in place, which is none other than signing young talent, the kind that's good for a decade. Huijsen has already proven that, and Mastantuono will be able to do so soon. Meanwhile, they need to continue finding players who are capable of waiting a season beyond the end, and the agreement is seen as a major coup for the club's future planning. The turning point in the deal came this past week when Xabi Alonso, expected to take over as Real Madrid head coach in 2026 after Carlo Ancelotti's tenure ends, personally reached out to Mastantuono. The former Real Sociedad and Liverpool legend held an extensive conversation with the young Argentine winger, outlining his vision for how the teenager would be integrated into the future Real Madrid project.